Hi guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to the desktop for another rules breakdown. And this week I'd like to cover the MasterBook rule system from West End Games in 1994. Now this isn't a game world, it's just a rule system, and West End Games published a number of games which used it. So the Indiana Jones role-playing game, Tank Girl, Tales from the Crypt, and a bunch of others, things like Necroscope, which were their own game settings, as well as the licensed ones I mentioned. Now, one of the key features of the MasterBook system is the MasterDeck, which is a set of cards. Now, I don't have those, but they're not really relevant for the sections I usually cover on rules breakdowns, because the MasterDeck tends to be things like bonuses to skill rolls, ways to alter a storyline, introduce your own plot lines, etc., etc. So the core rules that I tend to cover in these aren't really affected, except for sometimes you have a card which gives you a bonus. But once we see how the rules work, you'll be able to see how those would apply anyway. Now for my samples, I'm going to be using the character that they handily provide in the rulebook, Diane O'Rourke here, on page 35 of the rulebook. Now for skills, if we flick back to page 12, because the rule system has a quick version of the rules here, and then it goes into far more detail. So I'm generally going to use the quick version here. Now, for skill rolls, you find the character's skill or attribute value, roll 2 10-sided dice to get a bonus number, add the bonus number to the character's skill or attribute. If the total is equal or higher than difficulty, the character has succeeded. And then we've got arbitrary DN scale, so the difficulty numbers. So for simple and routine tasks, basically it's don't roll or 0, because you can get minuses on the bonus, so you can still fail even if the target number is 0. We've got nearly routine and very easy at 2 and 3, right up to incredible and nearly impossible at 22 and 25. Now, flicking back to the character, let's say this character is wanting to use their super science skill. So we can see it uses their mind attribute, which is 9, and then they've got 3 skill adds. So they've got 12. And then they're rolling 2d10 against this table, the bonus chart, at the bottom of page 12. So we've rolled a 9 and a 6, so 15, so we get 4. So their 13 and 4 is 17, so they have succeeded in anything up to very hard on that. Now obviously if they rolled like 2 1s and they'd rolled a 2, they'd have got a minus 10 to their skill, so their 13 would have only been a 3, so they could have only managed nearly routine tasks. So the difficulties are very, very variable in this game, very based on what you roll on the dice, and only minimally actually affected by your skills and attributes. Now initiative is on page 17, so if you flip to page 17, determining initiative. If you're not using the card system, each character generates a bonus number, and they act in agility order. So basically what you are doing in combat, because it mentions here that you're using confidence order if you're just doing interaction rolls. So we look at agility here, we've got 9. We roll on the bonus. So we've got a 6 and a 5, so 11, which is a bonus of 1. So this character goes in 10. Obviously going before anybody with a lower number and after anybody with a higher number. Now combat rolls are opposed rolls. So if we flick over to page 14, we can see that martial arts attack skills are defended against with melee, parry or agility, and so on and so forth. So fire combat or dexterity goes against dodge or agility. And what you're trying to do is get higher than the opponent. So, simply speaking, we look at the character here. So they have fire combat, which is dexterity 9 plus 1, so 10. And they are rolling their dice. And if the character is passively defending, you have to beat their agility. So the agility is 9. So we've already hit, but we're rolling dice to make sure that the bonus chart back here doesn't take us down to less than that. So we have rolled a 1 and a 7, so 8, which is -1. So we have equaled the agility, so we actually still hit because we've hit the target number. But if we'd got less than that, we would have missed. Also, if the character was dodging, so the character here has dodge. So actually, their 9 plus 2 is 11. So Diane O'Rourke here trying to shoot herself would automatically miss there, needing to get bonuses from her bonus dice. However, if she was actively dodging, she would get to make a skill roll on that as well. So she has 11. She's rolling her dice. She gets a 9 and a 2, so 11, which is a 1. So that increases her dodge by 1. So she's now got a dodge of 12 for her active dodge. And that's how it works. If we look back, there's various teamings of attribute or skills for the passive defense, and then you're rolling the dice to get the active one. The system also works the same for interaction. So if you're attempting to intimidate somebody, you'll be rolling against their confidence or willpower. If you're attempting to taunt them, you'll be against their confidence or willpower as well. If you're attempting to use hypnotism, it's against their willpower or mind. So basically, everybody rolls an attack. If you're actively defending, then you roll your defense, and whoever gets higher wins by either hitting or missing. Of course, it's also worth noting that if we flip to page 160, right towards the back of the book, in the equipment section, we can see that various weapons have modifiers at ranges. So using a rifle at point blank range, you're getting a -2 accuracy modifier. At medium range, you're getting a +2. At long range, you're getting a +1. At extreme range, you're getting -1. So depending on which weapon you're using and how far away the target is, your skill will be getting modified in your attack as well. Now, damage is based on your weapon. So if we flick over to the basic equipment here, we can see static weapon damage chart. We can see the damage values. So firing a light rifle is a damage value of 16. A Colt 45 revolver, 19. A lightweight M60 is 25. So let's stick with the light rifle at 16 here. So the character hit. Now, when they hit, any points they get on hitting the target, so on their bonus chart when they've rolled, any extra points add to the damage. So if you needed a 15 to hit and you got a 16, then your damage gets +1. Then after that, you need the success chart. And depending on the level, so 16 here, we can go across to the damage and we can see that that damage does 4 wounds, a knockdown, and a K5. But what do those mean? Well, that's where the system starts to get a little complex. We turn back to the character on page 35. We can see the character has shock capacity, and that's what the K and the O's stand for. You see, any Ks you receive, you keep one of, and the rest convert to shock capacity. And Ks last for half an hour. O's last for a lot less time, and you can see you can circle them there. Again, you only have one of them. Any other convert to shock. If you have a K and an O, then you are knocked out and you fall unconscious. Now, O's recover back at 1 per minute, or 1 per round, so every 10 seconds, if you are actually unconscious. Now, your shock capacity is before you fall down, but also you have life points down here. Now, what life points can be used is to increase any die roll. So when you are attacking, you could have spent life points, but they can also be used to absorb any damage. So when you're receiving wounds, you'll spend your life points to decrease them. But what do actually wounds mean? Well, if we turn to page 71, we can see the wound level. So if you've received 4 wounds, you've gone light, moderate, heavy, incapacitated. Incapacitated is -8 to all skills, and it'll take you 3 days to heal back, and the healing difficulty is a 16. We've got mortal and dead here, so if you receive a mortal wound, you're automatically knocked out. And we've got lighter ones here, where you get -4 to physical skills, -2 to all other. Moderates, -2 to physical skills. Light is no modifier, and it will heal back far quicker. So that's what the wounds mean, and of course you can absorb those with life points. So you don't necessarily have to instantly take wounds from an attack, but you could have spent your life points to increase your defense. The other thing you can do, because you can't spend your life points on other characters, but you can counter. So if somebody's attacking you and spending a life point to increase their dice roll, you can spend life points to counter that and remove it from their dice roll. And experience is dealt with on page 116, so we'll flip forward to that. 118. Now you can learn new skills, which cost 4 skill points. You can spend them at a cost of whatever you're going up to. So if you've got a skill at 3 and you're increasing it to 4, it'll cost 4. There's also specializations. So instead of having a skill in all guns, if you've got fire combat just in pistols, for example, it gives here, then it costs half, but that's half rounded up. So increasing a pistol skill to 2 will cost 1 point. Increasing it to 3 will cost 2 points. 1.5 rounded up to 2. You also get life points through the game, so you can have those, but you can transform them into 3 skill points. So if you don't want to have life points to spend during the game, you can convert them into skill points to increase your skills in between adventures. Now that's the rules for MasterBook. Now, I hope I've described those quite well. The damage system's a bit clunky and awkward, and I'm not that keen on it. However, I do like the way the life points work. They're very much like the force points in earlier games, but I feel they're a bit more flexible. I also like the flexibility in the rules for skills, although the amount that it's based on the roll of your dice I quite dislike, because you're always just rolling 2d10, and no matter how high your skill, you can get -10 for rolling double 1, or you can get +9 for rolling really, really high. And the skill itself becomes fairly trivial and unimportant compared to the dice roll. But other than that, I quite like the system. I haven't had it long, so looking through these rules was interesting. I thought it'd be a lot more like the D6 system, because that's what West End Games was using at the time, and there's a few elements it borrows from that. But mainly it's its own thing. But anyway, I think I've whittled on for quite long enough. Thank you very, very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment below, because it does me massive favours with the YouTube algorithm. But as always, most of all, look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.